All right, Prop 22 has passed and has been enacted into law because of California voting yes on 22 on the most expensive ballot measure in California's state history. What does it look like for drivers who are driving in California? What does it look like for the rest of the country? And could Prop 22 actually be in danger because of the Biden administration? Well, we're going to be talking about all that today. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. Today we're going to be talking about Post 22 or Prop 22 just after the fact, what it's looking like for drivers in California, what people are saying, both drivers and what customers and rideshare riders are actually seeing when it comes to this Post 22 update. Then we're going to talk about what other states are looking at enacting AB5 like legislation if these companies are going to try to curtail that and put in a Prop 22 style like legislation. And then lastly, let's talk about Joe Biden and some of the things that they're talking about with this PRO Act that could change everything as we know it nationally. So I'm going to be using this article right here from the Rideshare Guy. So if you'd like to check it out, link's going to be in the description below. There's only a few things I'm going to pull from this article that I want to share with you on what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So what we're going to be highlighting are some of the changes that drivers are seeing in California, as well as some of the changes that customers and rideshare riders are seeing on their end. So we're going to talk about what drivers are seeing first, like the healthcare stipend. So if you didn't know this or not in California, there is a healthcare stipend for California drivers who are averaging at least 15 hours per week for an entire quarter. That's what they have to do. And it has to be active time. So that means once they hit accept to when they end the trip or they drop off their delivery. And it's only able to be added up on one platform at a time. So you have to have at least 15 hours of active time per week on Uber or Lyft or Postmates or Grubhub or DoorDash or Instacart, but it cannot be all combined. That's one of the downfalls of this. It has to be on individual, and it can be very annoying for those who are multi-apping. But again, if you want to read more about it, link is going to be in the description below. And it's talking about how it works. It's saying to qualify for the stipend, you must be the primary policy holder. Medicare and Medicaid plans and those paid by employers are excluded from the benefit. So if you have Medicare, Medicaid, or an employer type insurance plan, you're not getting that stipend. And if your plan qualifies, you're going to need to submit proof of health insurance enrollment. And that's going to include health insurance identification card and coverage forms. You're going to receive 50% of the stipend when you average at least 15 active hours per week over a quarter. And you can receive 100% of the stipend when you average at least 25 active hours per week over the calendar. Then next is the guaranteed minimums earning, which means it's 120% of your state's minimum wage at the place you pick up. And it's going to give you plus 30 cents per mile for expenses. One of the big stipulation that stands out for the 30 cent per mile compensation does not apply for delivery people on foot or bicycle, only if you are doing Uber Eats deliveries using a car or a motorbike. And just like the healthcare stipend, active time is considered when you start accepting the trip and when you complete it. And there's also injury protection, which is going to say that you're going to be enrolled in injury protection insurance. And if you get into a covered accident, that insurance is going to help you and the family through a financial hardship. So it's going to include medical expense coverage, disability payments, and survivor benefits. You don't have to take any action. You're automatically enrolled, and that's no cost to you. And it's only counting towards trips that start in California or while you're waiting for a trip while in California. And other changes that are coming are there's going to be deactivation appeals. There's going to be required breaks that have to go off at least 6 hours for every 12 hours you work within a 24-hour period. And there's safety training. Now, breaking down this 30 cents per mile thing, it's a little bit different than what it sounds like. And it says, like from Uber, when you're active, you're now guaranteed at least 20% more than the pickup city minimum wage plus 30 cents per mile for expenses. But what drivers are finding out is what they really mean is, yeah, and they were a bit sly in the way they promoted the 30 cents per mile. Hey, you'll get 30 cents per mile with Prop 22 to cover gas, etc. But the truth is that they calculate whatever the minimum wage multiplier is and then add 30 cents per mile. If you make less than that, you get the difference. But if you make more than that, you don't get anything extra. So as you are driving, after they calculate your guaranteed minimum, if you fall short of that in your earnings, they're going to make up the difference in whatever amount that is. But if you go beyond that or make more than that, you're not getting paid anything extra because you've made above that minimum wage earnings. So for an example, let's say you booked for 10 hours and you drove 200 miles where you earned $300, and that's not including tips. And the minimum wage for the city you drive in is $14 an hour. Using the formula, this is what it's going to look like. 10 hours times 100% or 120% of the $14 equals 168. And then booked miles was 200 times the 30 cents per mile is $60. So then when you add them together, it's 228. So that's your guaranteed minimum earnings. If you made $300 because you made over that 228, you get nothing. If you only made, let's say, $200, they're going to up that $28 to make sure you hit that minimum guarantee. That's how it works. So those are a few of the differences that California drivers are seeing when it comes to what it looks like on Prop 22 driving in the state of California. Now, there are changes that riders and customers are also seeing, and this one might actually not only anger riders and customers, but it's also going to anger drivers as well because they're trying to get out of promoting tips and putting in these fees that customers are going to end up paying instead of these companies. So they're trying to rework the system in order to increase prices so they don't have to get anything touched within their bottom line. So Uber already is increasing fees onto its customers, and they're already announcing that and putting it in there. And so what they're saying is it's going to health insurance and guaranteed earnings. And then some other changes that you're seeing on the customer end is Grubhub is rolling out changes to the driver tipping screen, blaming on Prop 22. So it's appearing that Grubhub changed the way they display suggested tips when it's on its consumer side. So instead of the percentage such as 15 or 20, 25 or 30%, it's now showing a dollar amount where the top tip is $1.50. So it goes 0, 50 cents, $1, $1.50, and then custom. And so customers notice that there's an added fee on their orders, and the explanation given in the app is this. In support of California's Prop 22, this payment helps guarantee minimum wage and healthcare benefits for our drivers so they don't have to depend on tips. So it's making it seem like, oh, you don't have to tip now your driver because this extra fee is going to go for things like that. But that's not necessarily the case. So the fee is simply called driver benefits. On top of that, at the bottom of the screen, where the customer is typically encouraged to leave a tip, they're greeted with a message that says leave an optional tip on top of driver benefits, which is just one of those things, again, that can discourage tipping. So going down, it also says this almost sounds like Grubhub is replacing driver's tips with this driver benefit fee that is not optional and discourages customers from actually leaving a tip. It sounds like they are just trying to get around paying for the driver benefits themselves. So that should be something that might anger a lot of drivers, knowing that they're trying to manipulate how things look in order to discourage tips, where it looks like their money and their fees are going to the driver when in fact they're just trying not to pay for these particular changes when it comes to Prop 22. So now going outside of California, there are many other states that are looking at either implementing AB5-like legislation or looking at some sort of inaction of laws when it comes to an employee and independent contractor. Now, one of the biggest is Massachusetts. New Jersey also fined Uber for $659 million or something like that in back taxes for paying its drivers. New York has AB5-like legislation in the Assembly and the Senate. Illinois also, and several other states are looking at different laws when it comes to employee laws on the books. So this map right here shows that. So this is something that Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and all these other gig economy companies are looking and are either going to try to get something similar to Prop 22 passed, whether it's as big as a ballot initiative as California, or if they're going to try to work with states beforehand and just get it enacted that way. That could be one option. Could Prop 22 be at risk still? Well, yeah. The Biden administration is coming in full force, and they're very much against Prop 22 and very much for AB5-like legislation. And this is also reflected throughout the Democratic Party. The House of Representatives already introduced and passed something called the PRO Act, which is essentially AB5 on a national level. It has that three-part test whether a person is going to be considered an independent contractor or an employee. And again, this will be on a national level. Since it's passed in the House, it's going to go to the Senate. And whether the Senate is going to pick it up and do anything with it, that is still yet to be determined. And right now, it looks like it probably won't go anywhere in the Senate, but there's always a possibility. So Prop 22 could be challenged with this PRO Act, and all other states might fall under the PRO Act as well, too. All right, and now for your thoughts. So make sure you comment your thoughts on everything. So first off, are you a driver or customer in California? Are you seeing the changes? Are they beneficial towards you? Do you like them? Are they non-beneficial? Do you think that they need to be changed even more? Then if you're a driver or a customer outside seeing this and looking at California, what are your thoughts? And then on a national level, what do you think about this PRO Act? Do you think it's going to go anywhere? Do you think it's going to be stalled in the Senate? Comment below and let us know. And if there are any other updates when it comes to Prop 22 and some of the changes that have been made in California, whether it's other states that are looking at AB5-like legislation or even something like Prop 22 in their states, or if the PRO Act does go anywhere and what it could mean for drivers, delivery drivers, and shoppers, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications, because we'll make sure that we do updates on any of these types of scenarios and what it will mean for you as drivers and even customers who may be using the service. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. All right, everyone, drive safe.